We're back with segment 3 of the Tom Green College Football Preview Show.
Love college football. I just love college football.
Yes!
I'm going to name this deer college football. That's how much I love it. Okay, Big Ten.
Anyway.
Let's Big Ten. Let's.
Yes.
Okay, so
Give college football a little drink.
my number one pick. Let's see. Who are our leaders? Obviously, leaders in the best. We obviously have Michigan.
Yes.
We have Ohio. Who are the other teams that you think challenge for the Big Ten?
Nebraska.
Yeah, I think Nebraska.
Bo
As long as-
Pelini, is going to have something up his sleeve that will get Nebraska at least. If not, now that sadly Ohio is eligible, which if you ask me, right, they shouldn't be eligible at all. But anyway,
Question is though, is Nebraska going to fix the defense? I mean, if anybody remembers the Big Ten championship game last year.
oh yeah, 70-35 was the score.
What did they score? 40, 50 points in the first half, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
They ran for, how many yards did they run for? Was it 500 or something?
Something astronomical.
They looked
that.
like 95 Nebraska with Tom Osborne. They were just like, they would run the ball and the guy would go 90 yards for a touchdown. So Nebraska obviously has some problems that they need to fix defensively. Offensively, yes, they have Taylor Martinez again, but my big problem with Nebraska's offense, everybody's saying how good they're going to be, but it reminds me a lot of Denard. If we had Denard this year, it'd be like, whoa, Denard Robinson, he's just another year older, and man, how good is he going to be? But Denard never learned to throw. Taylor Martinez, let's face it, he's a white Denard Robinson. So the question is, does Taylor learn how to throw the football in the offseason? Because if he didn't, I really don't think Nebraska is going to have enough to actually push the other teams. They could slide in if, like, Michigan screws up against, Northwestern or Michigan State.
Or even Nebraska themselves.
Yeah.
Because like last year, last year, we remember that Denard got hurt in the second half, third quarter was it?
No, it was early in the game. I think it was like the first quarter.
The first quarter, and then they put in, which was probably the worst decision that the offensive team made, Russell Bellamy. They put him in, and he was about as good as Mark Sanchez in that game.
Bellamy was a phenomenal practice quarterback, apparently. And even though the coaches were like, he's been doing all the reps as the backup with the team, and, for some reason we put Devin Gardner at wide receiver, even though we could have put him at quarterback from the start of the season and had Denard in there as sort of a scat back, which is what we did at the end of the season, and it worked wonderfully. Ultimately, we decided not to do that stuff, and we'll start Russell Bellamy from Texas. And, we lost to a bad team.
This guy is a perfect Brady Hoke impersonation.
I can't wait to hear how it sounds, actually. But yeah, that was a bad decision. I thought if they could have started Gardner from the beginning. Michigan beats Notre Dame last year.
Yes.
Denard handing them 5 interceptions by just closing his eyes and throwing the football, which doesn't work.
Right, which would have put Notre Dame out of the championship and would have probably put, I'm going to guess, Oregon in.
Yeah, or the teams that lost late. Kansas State got blown out, so Oregon probably would have maybe gotten the nod.
And that would have been a hell of a game against Alabama.
I think Alabama probably would have killed them, though, because one thing I've lost all faith in Oregon's offense against a remotely good defense. I think they play a physical team and they fold. That's why they lost to Stanford. But we'll get to Oregon. So Michigan, Ohio, Nebraska. Do you put Sparty in there?
No.
I don't even put Sparty in there, so I'm going to say
if Penn State were eligible, I'd have put Penn State next to Nebraska.
Yeah, Penn State, I'm actually nervous about that game. Michigan going down to Penn State.
That's the first
Valley.
time they're going to Happy Valley since, I think, 2006.
And that's going to be a big game for them, because if they beat Michigan in the second year of their major league scandal problems, talk about a way of rebuilding their team. It's one of those things that it's one of those wins that can give them so much hope and so much momentum. Yeah. Bill O'Brien, props to him, great job.
Yes.
I'm glad he didn't leave. There was other rumors that he might leave for an NFL team, and he didn't. And Bill O'Brien, absolute props to him. But Penn State's a good team though.
Yeah, it was sad that all this Sandusky stuff happened, and now that this season is also a wash for them. But you know they're going to be good at it regardless because Bill O'Brien has a good plan for him.
Yep. He's a good coach. He's an NFL guy, so he knows his X's and O's. So that's a good one. So Michigan, Ohio, Nebraska.
Do we put Wisconsin in there?
Yeah, I think they're the big question mark. They lose their coach.
They brought in the coach from Utah State, who I remember watching their bowl game and they won by I think 21.
Okay.
I think they played decently in their bowl game. I didn't. Of course, I'm just used to watching Big Ten and SEC football, not so much Pac-12 and Big 12 because I've lived here all my life.
Yeah.
This guy is used to watching Big Ten and Pac-12 because he's.
I usually get game plan, although I realized last season finally that getting college game day or game plan is pretty much a waste of money because there's so many channels now. For the most part, you can find almost every game on TV anyway.
Yes.
And once in a great while, you'll miss like an interesting game. You know, it might be like Oregon and somebody, and you might be like, I'd like to see that game because
Oregon
players,
State
but
and Nicholls State. I just wanted to watch that game just to see how bad Oregon State would kill Nicholls State.
Yeah, that's who knows with Oregon State? They're all over. They like play well against like good teams, and that's it sometimes.
Yes,
But
they're a sleeper.
yeah, but generally any game that has any sort of significance finds its way on
Yeah.
TV anyway. So that's my don't get game plan. It's not worth the money unless you're rich. Then get it. But they have teams now on there that are like Division 2 and Division 3. So it's like whatever.
Yeah, like Delta College probably.
Okay, so let's do a little Michigan. Let's pick our two teams in the Big Ten title game. Let's do that. Why not?
Okay, I'm gonna say a rematch of Week 13 of the season. I think, which will be the big game.
Michigan, Ohio State, 2 weeks in a row.
I'm gonna call it right now. Michigan Ohio State championship game.
Who do you?
It hurts for me to say Ohio State's going to the championship game. Well, for me, it hurts for me to say Ohio State's going to win. But I really do think that's a possibility this year.
I think Michigan is a team that nobody is expecting this year. Like, everybody knows they've been recruiting well, but I think this is the year the coaching and some of this experience, but the depth that Michigan has. They have 4 and 5 star guys that are like backups now. They're getting deep. They're getting good. And I don't think people are quite taking them seriously yet. It's like Michigan's year is next year. I think Michigan's year is this year. I think they arrive this year, and I think they're going to hit everybody in the mouth. I think Michigan...
That was really supposed to be last year until Alabama basically told them, you ain't ready yet.
Yeah, and people realize that, Denard Robinson will never be able to pass, which is fine. I love Denard, by the way. It sounds like I'm ripping on him all the time, but he brought us some great memories. But, yeah, he can never pass.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
totally
remember
agree,
watching that game, though, because Michigan started out. I think Alabama had the ball to start out, and Michigan took them 3 and out, and I'm like, this could be good. And then Alabama just takes the kit and caboodle from there and wins the game by a ton.
I say Michigan surprises everybody. They win every single game in the regular season. And ultimately, though, I hate rematches because they're incredibly hard to win.
Yes.
I think Michigan wins every game in the regular season, and I know that might seem like it's a biased thing because I'm a Michigan fan, but I don't see anybody beating them. I just don't. If Notre Dame had their starting quarterback from last year, if they had Golston, I would take Notre Dame. I would just think they're just a little bit. They have just as much talent, maybe more. They're a little more cohesive. But losing their starting
this year, it's
quarterback,
under the lights again.
Yeah, it's in Ann Arbor. It's under the lights, and Tommy Rees, I think, is going to be their quarterback, and he has a great history of handing the game to the other team. So I think Michigan takes that one, but I think they win out. I think they take out the Spartans. I think they take out Penn State. I think they beat Northwestern. Maybe there's a chance for some upset in there, but I think they win out. But I think they lose in the championship game to Ohio because I think it's really, really hard to win twice. And doing it 2 weeks in a row. You finish your season, You beat Ohio, you're undefeated, you're on cloud 900, and then a week later it's like, oh, by the way, you have to beat Ohio again. And if for some reason, so part of me almost wants Ohio to beat Michigan at the end of the season, so that if Michigan plays them again next week, Michigan will have a chance to knock them off. Although I'm not officially going to say that because I never want to lose to Ohio, but that's what I think happens. I mean, rematches are hardly ever won by one team, or two games. Rematch a series basically are never really won by the same team.
Just ask LSU and Alabama from 2 years ago.
Exactly.
Because LSU beat Alabama at Alabama in a field goal contest, basically. And the national championship was in New Orleans, so basically LSU was home. And the same game kind of came out from that, a field goal contest in which Alabama won.
And then 1996, Florida State beats Steve Spurrier and the Gators in Tallahassee. Something Spurrier never could win was at Tallahassee. And that was the Danny Werfel years. And what happened? Nebraska lost, somebody else lost, Oklahoma lost. Florida ended up in the national title game in the Sugar Bowl, played Florida State again, and Florida blew them out 52-24. And I remember Bobby Bowden said, it's really hard to win rematches. It's just hard to get up a second time. If you lose the first game, you're mad, and you want to beat them the second time. If you win the first one, it's hard to get up to beating a team again, which is why I'm glad. The best thing that happened with Rutgers and Maryland coming in is the fact that it forced them to put Ohio State and Michigan in the same division. So they'll never play each other twice. This is the only season where it can happen, and I think it's going to happen.
I remember when the divisions were going to come out 3 years ago that they did not want Michigan and Ohio State in different divisions because of this happening, and lo and behold, both of us think it's going to happen.
Who's your champion?
Big Ten champion. God.
Well, we already know mine. I just said it. So I think, kills me to say it, but this will be a year where Michigan's dominance in the regular season backfires. But I think Ohio is ultimately going to win it. They also have an easy schedule. They don't play. They avoid some of the better teams in the Big Ten until they play Michigan. Their non-conference schedule is a joke. The only thing that could change things, obviously, are injuries. Devin Gardner or Braxton Miller go down. Completely different seasons for both of those teams.